Welcome back to this Free-for-All Friday edition of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. You are listening to Focal Point. You're on board the USS Focal Point, our patrol boat in which we patrol the choppy waters of America's public life, looking relentlessly for the coordinates where truth intersects with politics, where the truth of God's Word intersects with our public and shared common life together as the people of the United States. Our commander is on the bridge. The scriptures, as always, serve as our nautical charts. The Holy Spirit is our navigator, and I serve as your loyal, humble, and cheerful first mate. Now, a couple of quick items before I bring Jeff into the conversation. The Obama administration today went to court, to Sonia Sotomayor, the Supreme Court, and they said, we want you, we are so determined, we are so committed to the pro-abortion position that we want you to impose that on the Little Sisters of the Poor. I arf you not, that is the name of this private charitable organization run by Catholic nuns, the Little Sisters of the Poor, and they care for the elderly. And they said, look, we are not going to pay, we're not going to provide any kind of insurance coverage for our nuns that causes us to provide for abortion-causing pills. We believe in the sanctity of life. We're not going to have any part of that. And if you make us do it, it's $1 million a day because we're not going to do it. We're just not going to comply. So it's $1 million a day that the Obama administration wants to nail the Little Sisters of the Poor. $1 million a day is what they want to do. This is what Obama wants to do to the Little Sisters of the Poor. Their crime is having a conscience and caring for the elderly. And they went to court today. Sonia Sotomayor issued a stay on New Year's Eve and say, we got to wait. You got to hold off on this because this doesn't sound right to me. So you need to make your case to me on Friday about why we should sock them for $1 million a year for running their private charity according to Christian principles. And the Obama administration came today and said, you got to do it. We want you to nail them to the wall, $1 million a day. I mean, that gives you a picture into where the Obama administration is at on the whole issue of religious liberty. Now, on the winnable war front, this is great news. This is the Alan Guttmacher Institute. This is actually a separate arm from Planned Parenthood, but Alan Guttmacher used to be a big poobah with Planned Parenthood. So this is essentially Planned Parenthood. And they've done an analysis, and they issued a report today. Listen to this, that state legislatures just since 2011 have enacted 205 abortion-restricting laws. That is, pro-life laws, laws that protect the sanctity of human life. 205 of those kind of pieces of legislation have been passed since 2011. That's more than had been enacted during the entire previous decade. So 205 abortion-restricting pro-life laws enacted from 2011 to 2013, just 189 in the 10 years prior to that. And that's coming from the Alan Guttmacher Institute. That's Planned Parenthood. So you can take that to the bank. Now, as I told you at the beginning of the program, we are a full-service radio program, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to prove it to you with Jeff Reed's help. Now, the reason I'm bringing Jeff into the conversation here is in case this little segment kind of blows up on us, I can always blame it on him. But Jeff and I were talking about this little story this morning from The Blaze. And it's a little story that illustrates the axiom that necessity is the mother of inventions. Now, you may have a lot of common problems, and we want to give you some practical help. We're not just about theology. We're not just about politics here. We're about giving people pragmatic help. So, Jeff, welcome to the program. You are my scapegoat in case this thing goes disastrously wrong. Are you prepared to bear that burden?
Yeah, I'm happy to serve.
Okay, all right. Now, one of the issues that comes up is what if you run out of kindling? You need to start a campfire, and you run out of kindling. Like my 49ers are going to Green Bay Sunday. It's going to be minus 8 degrees, 8 degrees below zero. So you're going to have some 49er fans, some Green Bay fans. They're going to want to build a fire right there in the stands. What if you didn't bring any kindling?
Yeah. Well, what if it's buried in snow?
Yeah, and it's in the snow. How are you going to? Well, here it is. Doritos is a terrific source of kindling to start a fire. Almost any chip, any kind of potato chip or corn chip will provide the necessary kindling to start your fire. And if you do it with Doritos, there's a little tip. It'll make your fire smell cheesier.
Well, that's nice to know.
That is. Okay.
Everybody always has Doritos.
Now, there's another issue that comes up, Jeff, and that is, you want to take care of your car. You want it to look spiffed out. You want to wax it. Right. And there's another little tip, and I understand from talking to you this morning, this is a tip that you have actually used in your own personal life.
I have. I don't know where I first heard this, but if you know how when you've had a car for a few years and the headlight covers now get kind of frosted up. I don't know what that's all about. I think everybody hates that. But you can take a little toothpaste and put it on a rag, mix it with a little water, and use that as a polish. Like you do it in a circular motion like a wax, and it'll clear that right up.
So you knew about this, and you've actually done this.
I did. It works.
Jeff, I got to tell you, that makes me worry about you, that you would even know about this.
Well, you know what else it works on is CDs that are scratched. I've tried it on that too. It's a real fine polish, I guess, in toothpaste.
Okay, now that's and see, Jeff has actually done this himself. So we are not, we're not like Barbara Streisand. Remember Barbara Streisand back in the day? She wanted everybody to hang their clothes out on their own clotheslines to save energy. And her spokesman was asked, well, is that what she's doing? And he was just shocked why anybody would think that she would actually do what the peasants have to do. But we're not like that. We're not hypocrites. We've actually done what we are, these tips that we're providing to people, you've actually done these in your own personal life.
That's been field tested.
Okay, field tested. Brush your car's headlight covers with toothpaste. Okay, now people like to dunk their Oreos in milk. Here's a little tip. And the problem is you get your fingers wet. You want to dunk the Oreo in the milk, but you go down too far and your fingers go wet. So here's a little tip. Stick a fork in the cream in the filling between the two wafers, and then you can dunk it with the fork. And I've never done that, so I cannot speak from experience to that. But
I think I'd like to field test that one.
Now that would be worth the experiment. We may have to have our entire production team road test that. Yeah, I'm hearing some support in the background there. Now here's another one, and this is again something that you yourself have done. We all have furniture, and it gets scratched up, and it kind of bugs us. And you've got a suggestion for our listening audience.
Yeah, you could take a walnut or different kinds of nuts, depending on the color of the wood, and rub it right into the scratch. I don't know how it works, if the oils soak into the wood, but lots of times that scratch, you know how it's a different color? On it, that'll take that right out.
Okay, walnuts.
I mean, the scratch will still be there, but it'll match the color, so you can't notice it as much.
It'll be a walnut-colored scratch.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last one here. Now, I wouldn't have any way of even needing this kind of service because I never get lost. In fact, Debbie, we went somewhere on Christmas break, and she actually posted on her Facebook page that we got lost. And I said, man, I posted on her I wasn't going to let that go without a reply. I said, I was never lost. I knew exactly where we were, somewhere in northeastern Alabama. I wasn't lost. I knew right where we were.
Get your GPS. You can blame it on that now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so this is something that I wouldn't know anything about. But, Jeff, maybe you could offer this kind of suggestion that people are lost and they're looking for directions and their GPS thing is not working for whatever reason. They're out of range. What's the suggestion about where you go to get the most reliable set of directions? People say, well, you got to go to the local gas station. Nah.
That was the old days. Now you go to a pizza place.
Yeah, and why do you go to the pizza place?
Well, they deliver pizzas. They know where everything is.
So they know the whole town.
Yeah, Brian, I'm just kind of wondering, though, why this list came out. Is it a coincidence it came out about the same time the Colorado laws about pot started? Because, I mean, look at this. We've got Doritos here, walnuts, pizza places. Oreos. It seems like there's some time, people with time sitting around trying these things out.
No, again, I seriously have never had any experience with this. Cause I've never even been tempted to toke up with marijuana or pot. I've never inhaled. I've never thought about inhaling. I smoked half of a cigarette one time when I was a freshman in college, and that was enough for me. So I don't have any personal experience with this, but understand like the Doritos, the chips, or Fritos or something is like a big deal with pot smokers.
I think if you wanted to make a little money, that's probably what you should do is open up a snack shop in Colorado now.
Right next to one of those pot stores. Well, I've got a story in the stack here that talks about this developing pot tourism It's from Newsmax.com. Colorado gears up for marijuana tasting tours. Now, I'm going to talk about marijuana. We're having kind of fun with this story now, but I think there's some serious stuff here.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later. But they're talking about these pot sampling tours like you'd go to Napa Valley in California and go from one winery to the next. They're talking about going from one marijuana grower to the next. You can kind of smoke your way around the state of Colorado. And, we were wondering, Jeff, if maybe this, this whole list about toothpaste on your headlights and Doritos, maybe that was developed on one of these pot
Maybe
smoking
it's a coincidence, but I don't know.
Just
the timing is
suspicious.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. And I know that our listening audience appreciates the very pragmatic help that we are giving to our listening audience. Now, a couple of other things on the culture front, and I'm going to save that environmental stuff, Rob, for the next segment so we can just keep this as one intact segment. When we complain about programming on television or we complain about content in movies, what people always say to us, hey, and what the producers of these media products tell us is, hey, we're just reflecting the culture. We're just giving people what they want. Well, here is a lengthy piece from FrontPageMag.com reporting on a serious study. It was published in the Social Science Quarterly, and it says that movies make you liberal. They tested this, and they said, look, what makes people susceptible to the political message in a movie is their guard is down. They have suspended their critical thinking processes, which tells you all you need to know about liberalism. If you suspend your critical thinking processes, you check your brain at the door of the theater, you could be influenced toward liberalism. So the idea is if you're not thinking clearly, if you're not thinking logically, if you're not thinking critically, you could turn into a liberal. And they tested on these movies that had some kind of theme about healthcare, and everybody was influenced in the direction of socialism when it came to healthcare by simply watching these movies. The Rainmaker with Matt Damon, and then another one, As Good as It Gets, a comedy with Jack Nicholson. Both of them had kind of a pro-socialism message on healthcare, and people were influenced in that direction. So don't let them lie to you. Media, and we've got the social research to prove it now, media doesn't simply reflect culture, they shape culture. Focal Point, AFR Talk, back in 2 minutes.